Says finish on it. Okay.
Hi, Joyce at Delightful Quilting and Sewing, a Knowlton dealer in Avon, New York. Well, today I wanted to talk about a little incident that I had this week in getting fabric prepared for quilting. The quilts that I have hanging on the wall, most of them I went through a procedure before I started using the fabric, even in preparing my patches and my blocks. And I'm going to show you that procedure because I think it's very important to start with the right steps even before you get to the quilting frame and begin your quilting. It's just one of the small things that you need to do to have the outcome that you want to have when you're making a quilt. So over here at my table, I have a pile of fabrics here that I acquired last week. And the first thing that I always do with all my fabric is I take it to the washing machine and I wash it. These came from an estate, and so they had been around for, some of them for many years. Some of them may have been washed, some of them may not have been washed, I'm not sure. But I wanted to wash all of them. And I wash all of my fabrics. I even wash fat quarters. And I'll talk about how I do that in just a minute. But the very first thing that I do, so I'll talk about the fabrics here a little bit. So I wash them all together in the washing machine. We have a selection here of commercially prepared fabrics. They have the selvage on them. You know, Kaufman is one of them, and several other fabric manufacturers, and some of these are fairly old, as I said. And then there was this selection of hand dyes, and I washed them all together in the washing machine, including this piece of fabric right here. So my initial way that I start with my preparation is, and you can see these little triangles here, and I learned this little tip from a quilter many years ago, and I've always done it ever since, is I cut the corners off. Now this is the selvage and the cut edge right here, the fabric. This is the folded edge over here. So off of all four, so you're going to have four corners on it, you cut off a triangle, just like that. Just cut it right off. Don't worry about it. The reason for doing that is because now I have a bias edge right here. And even if I try to fray that, it's not going to fray. So it can go through the washing machine, it can go in the dryer, and you're not going to end up with a lot of threads coming off. You may have some come off, but by and large, almost none. And so you don't end up with that problem of a lot of ravelly edges and knotting and everything else. So you cut that corner off, just like this one is cut off here, and you just toss everything in the washing machine. Now, as I said, I wash all of these together. Before anything goes in the washing machine, I add one more thing to it, and it is one of these Shout color catchers. Now there's another brand that's similar to this. This does a much better job right here, the Shout color catchers. It looks like this. Looks like a piece of paper, but it is treated in a way so that it captures migrating dyes in the washing machine so that it doesn't get on the rest of the fabric. So I'll show you what happened here. When the stuff came out of the washer and I had put it in the dryer, this is one of the things I noticed. Now, this is supposed to be white, so it didn't capture all of the migrating dyes. This I will probably put back through another load of wash with some more color catchers and see if I can't capture the migrating dyes back out of this. And I noticed that on this particular piece of fabric right here, I don't remember for sure, but I think this is supposed to be white. But it's not. It has sort of a tea dye look to it, which doesn't matter to me. I'll use it for what it is. But obviously something came out of the fabrics. I doubt it was any one of the commercial fabrics here. I have a feeling it was out of one of the hand dyes because I put 3 color catchers in, and this is what they look like when they came out. Looks sort of like cool dyed fabric to me. So it captured a lot of dye, a lot of migrating dye in there. Always, always put them in. If you are washing a vintage quilt top, for example, that you come by, do the same thing. Put the color catchers in there, because some of the older fabrics from the 20s and 30s and 40s don't necessarily have dyes that are stable, and they will migrate. Oftentimes it's a blue, sometimes it's a red, and these color catchers will pick up those migrating fugitive dyes and help to prevent them from bleeding into neighboring fabrics that are in the quilt. So I feel it's really, really important to do this. So cut the corners off, use the color catchers in your wash, put in enough of them, and these can be used over again several times. I will not, however, use these over again several times, because this is a lot of captured dye in those color catchers. So one other last thing that I do put my fabrics into the dryer for about 10 to 15 minutes on cool or medium air, and then I take them out, shake them out, and hang them over clothes bars so that the wrinkles kind of hang out. I have not pressed these yet, and you can see that they've come out of the washing machine, out of the dryer, almost ready to use. I'll be able to put them on the shelf and then press them before I use them. This was in that same batch, and you'll notice the white here did not pick up any of that dye. And yet this other piece of fabric, it did pick up the dye. I don't know why. I don't know how the fabrics were treated or what makes this one different from this one over here. Why this picked it up and this one did not. All I do know is that using these color catchers is a really important step in picking up fugitive dyes that may happen to come out of some of the fabrics, whether they're commercial fabrics or whether they're hand-dyed fabrics. So those are my tips today for working with your fabric. One more thing I'd like to point out is that especially with the large backings that are available on the market right now, those that are like 103 to 108 inches wide, the manufacturers are using a lot of sizing on those. Those fabrics get folded again and again several times so that they're small enough, narrow enough to go onto a bolt. And what we're finding in our long arming is they can be challenging to work with, and we're finding that sometimes the batting gets punched down through the backing on those, and it's because of the sizing that is on that fabric. So make sure you wash your fabrics, and especially wash your backing fabrics before they are long-armed or quilted in any way. You'll be much, much happier with the results. So I hope you have a good week. That's our tip for this week. We'll see you next time.